Hello and welcome to Study Digital. Before we begin, I would like to read out this small quote by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, who is considered to be the father of Green Revolution in India. He said, "The future belongs to the nations who have grains, not guns." So ever wondered in which seasons or during which time of the year do we find the fruits, mangoes and oranges? You all must have observed your mothers bringing oranges for you all during winter season, whereas during your summer vacation you all must have seen your fathers ordering for mangoes. So we get mangoes during summer season and oranges during winter season. Now can you all tell me which food grains do we get around the time of Diwali? Have you all ever wondered during Diwali vacation what are the specific food grains that you all eat or during that course of time? So some of the food grains that we get during the time of Diwali or during the winter season are rapeseed, oat and bajra. You are familiar with bulbs of plants such as onions and garlic, and tubers such as potatoes, ginger, etc. They are all parts of the stem of the plant. Radishes, sweet potatoes, beetroots are the roots of their plants. These plants store food in their stems or roots. So today we will learn more about all this in the chapter Food for All. So these are the four main topics under the chapter Food for All. First is agriculture. Second is improved methods of agriculture. Third, fertilizers, and fourth, food storage and conservation of environment. So first let us look into the topic agriculture. Here we have agricultural seasons. So let us understand what do we mean by agricultural seasons. We get food from plants. For that purpose, we sow grains in the fields and plant fruit trees in orchards. About 60% of the land of our country, India, is in use for agriculture. There are two main agricultural seasons in our country. The season from June to October is called as the Kharif season. In this season, the crops are watered mainly by the rain. The season from October to March is the Rabi season. In this season, rainwater that has soaked into the soil, the retreating monsoons and the dewdrops are the sources of water for the crops. In addition, some crops are grown from March to June. These are called as summer crops. So basically we have three agricultural seasons in our country. One is Kharif season, the second one is Rabi season and summer season. Now let us understand what do we mean by agricultural work. Every farmer wishes to get a good harvest. A good harvest means good yield or good amount of production of crops. A good harvest provides good income, that is, good amount of money for survival. Fertile land, good quality seeds and fertilizers, and availability of water are essential for a good harvest. It is also necessary to carry out the task of tilling the land. The crop in the field must be protected and harvested crop must also be stored safely. All of these processes are important. The population of our country is increasing and still the needs of all the people are being met. This has been possible because of the modern improved methods of agriculture. So the picture you all see here on the right hand side is of tilling the land. In this manner, The land or the field is tilled. Now let us understand what was traditional agriculture. In the traditional methods of agriculture, ploughing and tilling were done with the help of oxen. So oxen were used for agricultural purposes. A mott, a huge leather bag driven with the help of oxen, was used to draw water from the well. So you all can observe in the picture here. This is a huge leather bag, and this was tied to the oxen with the ropes, and oxen used to walk ahead and drag the water with the help of this river bag or leather bag from the wells during old times, during the traditional time. Harvesting, threshing, etc. was done by the members of the farmer's family. That means human labor was involved, no machines were available. So farmer's family themselves with the help of oxen. So it was either the farmer's family or the oxen that were used during that time. However, farmers now carry out all these tasks with the help of machines. So in the modern times, we have machines available for various agricultural activities. Now let us understand what do we mean by improved methods of agriculture. First, we have improved seeds. Earlier, it was customary to preserve or store the seeds of one harvest for sowing in the next season. Those seeds did not have a high yield, that is, large scale of production. Nowadays, improved seeds are developed through research. Because of the development in science and technology, we have improved seeds available. They are available in the market for every crop such as jawar, rice, groundnut, wheat, etc. Improved seeds have higher yield, that is, they give more production. They can resist pest attacks. Some varieties become ripe for harvesting in a shorter period of time, while some give a high yield even with low water supply. So some of the seeds that are available, or some of the improved seeds that are available in the market nowadays, are rice seeds, groundnut seeds, jawar seeds, and wheat seeds. Now let us understand modern methods of irrigation. Crops grow well if they are watered at the right time. Water from rivers, lakes, and wells is used for irrigation in addition to rainwater. Greater quantities of water is stored by building dams and bunds on rivers to obstruct the flow of water downstream. This also helps to raise the levels of groundwater. Crops were traditionally watered through canals. However, much water from the canals is lost due to evaporation and seepage into the ground. Now, certain improved methods of irrigation are used which provide enough water to the plants and at the same time help to save a lot of water. Drip irrigation and sprinkle irrigation are two of these modern methods of irrigation. So let us understand what is drip irrigation and sprinkle irrigation. The drip irrigation method makes use of pipes with holes. So on the right, if you all see, these are pipes, and these pipes have holes at different places in them. This ensures that the required amount of water drips only near the plants. Thus, full use is made of the available water. So only the required amount of water is given to the plants and no water is wasted. In sprinkle irrigation, makes use of sprinklers of different sizes that spray water directly on the plants. So you all can see here, there are sprinklers attached or buried in the fields, and with the help of these sprinklers, only that area is watered where the plants or the crops need to be watered. So there is less wastage of water even in case of sprinkle irrigation. Now let us understand what are fertilizers. If the same crops are grown repeatedly in the field, the fertility of the soil decreases. Then we have to add fertilizers to the soil to restore its productivity or to restore the quality of the soil. Fertilizers provide the required nutritive substances to the crop. In traditional agriculture, organic manure such as compost were used. There are two kinds of fertilizers, namely natural fertilizer and chemical fertilizer. Natural fertilizers are called manures. They are obtained from the materials available in the nature like green waste and animal dung. Chemical or artificial fertilizers are mixtures of different chemical substances in specific proportions useful for agriculture. Chemical fertilizers came to be used for quicker growth and higher yields. So here this is an example of a natural fertilizer, which is animal dung, or you can also call it as cow dung. However, the harmful effects of the use of these fertilizers soon became clear. The overuse of chemical fertilizers leads to the accumulation of excessive chemicals in the soil. This lowers the fertility of the soil and reduces its productivity. That is, the quality of the soil decreases. Overwatering makes the land saline and fallow. This is seen especially in the parts where water is available in plenty, for example near dams or on river banks. If land becomes saline and fallow, it has to be tested to find out which substances it lacks. The fertility can be restored by adding these substances. So whatever the substances we find out after the testing the land, if there is any substance that is not present, then that can be restored by adding the substances. It is a costly and time-consuming procedure. Therefore, it is better to avoid excessive use of fertilizers and water. Here on the right, these chemicals are example of artificial fertilizers, also known as chemical fertilizers. So they are added to the plants or to the soil in order to improve the quality of the soil and the plants. Now let us understand what do we mean by protection of crops. Diseases and pest attacks can damage crops in the field. As a remedy, insecticides and pesticides are sprayed on the crops, or certain chemicals are rubbed on the seeds before sowing, that is before planting the crop. So, three things can be done in order to protect the crops. One is spraying of insecticides or pesticides. You all can see a farmer in this picture. He is spraying insecticides and pesticides on the crops in order to protect the crops from pests or whatever disease that the crop has been affected with. Here we have insecticides and pesticides that are available in the market. These are chemicals, and these are some of the ways in which the crops are damaged by the pests or insects. So this is how it looks like. Now let us have a look at storage of grains. Storing the harvested crop safely is as important as increasing the production. For this purpose, the grain is first dried well in the sun and then filled in sacks or gunny bags. The sacks are then stocked in the house or after selling in the warehouse or shops. So a warehouse is a big room or a storeroom, you all can call it as, where all the production is stocked. So this is a warehouse that you'll see in the picture. Stored grain can be damaged in two ways. Mice, rats and insects can spoil the grain to a great extent. Also, if the grain is stored in a closed and damp space, it catches fungus and becomes unfit or unhealthy for eating. To prevent damage by pests, chemicals are sprayed at the place of storage or all around it. Neem leaves are also mixed in the grain. Some protective chemicals that can be mixed with the grain are also available in the market. Their smell repels insects. So because of the smell, the insects avoid going to the places where these chemicals are sprayed and therefore the grains are safe in there. Storage places are always kept dry and airy to avoid fungus formation. Now let us understand food security conservation of environment. So first is food storage and conservation of environment. Like humans, other living things also store food, and each of them has a different way of doing it. Insects like ants store food. Bees collect nectar from the flowers and store food in a honeycomb in the form of honey. Because of these animals store food, it is available to them whenever they need it or whenever they want to consume it. All the time, plants are busy producing the food they need. Plants store food in their stems or roots. Human beings too store food in their homes according to their needs. In India, due to improved methods of cultivation, we now produce plenty of food grains. The surplus food grain is stored in huge warehouses. Surplus means extra or leftover. So the leftover or extra food grain is then stored in the warehouses. Sometimes production is affected by a disaster such as floods, drought, cyclone or hailstorm. At such times, the stored surplus grain can be used for the people. The Green Revolution. Today, our country is self-reliant as far as production of food grains is concerned. We are also able to export the surplus grain and excess of production, like I mentioned earlier. The tremendous increase in the food grain production in our country was achieved during the Green Revolution. It was brought about by the joint efforts of scientists, people working for the spread of science, and farmers. The credit for the research that led to the improvement in the seeds of wheat and rice that resulted in the Green Revolution in India goes to Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. So he is the person who was responsible for Green Revolution in India. Food security. Food is a basic need. Many countries have made laws to ensure that every person gets sufficient food according to their need or their requirement. These laws are known as food security laws. In 2013, our country too enacted a food security law. It has made possible to fight the ills like malnutrition, starvation, and deaths due to hunger. So due to the implementation of food security law in India, our country is able to now overcome problems such as malnutrition, starvation, and deaths due to hunger. Agricultural Assistance Program. Throughout this program, farmers are given proper information and guidance about the latest technology, irrigation facilities, improved seeds, use of fertilizers and pesticides. So various agricultural activities or new agricultural activities are introduced to the farmers through the help of Agricultural Assistant Program. They can also get weather forecasts and other agriculture related information from these assistance centers. In addition, agricultural schools have also been started for farmers. Members of a farmer's family can learn about new technology at these schools. Agricultural produce marketing committees hold exhibition too for farmers. The Agricultural Department of the government, agricultural universities, television, newspapers, and various periodicals work for the spread of modern methods of agriculture. Now it is possible for all the farmers to use these modern methods to increase production. So with the help of this agricultural assistance program, the farmers are now aware of the latest technology and facilities that are available for agriculture. So that's it for this video. I will catch you in the next one. Happy learning!